Broadcasting live from sunny South Florida, this is KMA Talk Radio. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of fine cigars. Your KMA crew, the Italian Scallion, Paul DeGracco, Alex Tavella, a.k.a. The Goat, and always telling it like it is, Honest Abe.
I like to smoke them like the Winston Churchill, like John Kennedy, yeah. Remember Coach Red Auerbach, smoked up for victory, yeah. Well, you can take my wife, you can take my car, but you can't take my big cigar. My cigar.
Good morning to all our loyal listeners, libertarians, and lovers of the leaf. I'm your host, Honest Abe, and this is KMA episode number 460, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. And as always, I'm here with my trusted gang, the Italian scallion himself, the man we call Shameless Paul. I like that.
Hi.
It rhymes. The man we call Shameless Paul. I like that.
Great. Let's
Not
move
thrilled?
on.
Not thrilled. And the man himself, he's the antithesis of the Paul, the goat.
The antithesis.
The Paul antithesis. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How we doing?
It's a Saturday morning in South Florida. We can't complain.
No, it's actually pretty nice out. The last week has been almost cool in the mornings, like just under 70, beautiful.
We
Sit
took a
outside,
bike
have
ride.
some
My
coffee.
daughter and I took a bike ride this morning. It was amazingly cool. It was super.
You just
nice.
go around your neighborhood, or do you go outside the gates of the compound?
This morning we were doing more of a workout than a casual ride. So we do
Okay.
6 laps around the community, which is basically like a couple miles,
Yeah.
So
I just get bored when I go
We
in
go-
circles.
well, I mean, we weren't
I mean,
riding.
it's got you got a fairly big community. It's not like
It's not a
Yeah,
short
but it's
loop.
one big
it's not
circle,
quick
isn't it?
loops.
It's
Yeah.
turns. It's turns. It's like a figure eight.
Okay.
Actually, it's a figure eight.
Oh, yes, you're right. There's two big circles, right?
Yeah, it's like a
That's
figure
right.
eight.
Okay.
But like if we go on like casual rides, because if you come out of our complex and you go left, man, there's really nice riding down there. You start going into horse and ranch country.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you see the horse stables that are nicer than any house I'll ever be able to afford.
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah, it sounds like you were off to a good start.
Yeah, well, trying to stay alive. That's the new slogan. Try to keep living.
Yeah, that's good, man.
That's
We've been doing walks in my house sometimes in the morning, sometimes at
Walks
night after
in
dinner.
your house.
No,
Oh,
at my house, like outside.
Okay.
So we've been
I-
taking the kids and the dogs out for walks, and it's been good. The boys really seem to like it. So Axel actually even walks, but Eli walks for half of the trip, and then he jumps in the stroller and he plays with a toy.
Can you keep up with Axel?
Half's not bad, bro.
Of course, I
Right.
can keep up with Axel.
That's not bad. I was telling you last night, you got about probably 2 more years before he outgrows you.
It might be true, man. He is growing pretty quickly.
Speaking
But,
of which, you got the boys today alone. You were telling me you got you're solo with the boys today. Alex?
Me?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Every Saturday, usually most Saturdays for a couple hours, which is
Is that the threshold? Is that the develop threshold? A couple hours
that's
long?
a couple
with the
hours.
boys?
4 or
Are
5
you going to
hours.
take them out?
Of course, you have to take them out. The car ride to where the further the better. It kills time.
The car ride's the freedom.
Yeah,
You want to go to Jupiter? Great. Half
Yeah,
hour
you're
in
right.
the car.
Come on, let's go to the Miami Science Museum. That's it's 2 hours and change in the car killed.
What do your kids do in the car? Do they watch like an iPad, or they play toys, or what do they?
Yeah, Carmine
Like, are they
watches
at
his
the-
iPad, and the baby, I don't know, does whatever he does. He does.
But he doesn't freak out.
No. More often than not, he'll fall asleep.
Nothing wrong with that. My kids are
Nope.
50-50. It really depends.
In a car?
Yeah, the Axel's fine, but like Eli gets bored. So he's 2 now, so he does get an iPad, but there's not much he can do on it except watch a
Right.
movie or watch YouTube Kids, which is super locked down, so he can't watch, fun stuff. But which we learned about with Axel, because I think we talked about it on the show, but one time, I don't know, I didn't know about YouTube Kids when Axel first started watching an iPad. And I walk over to him and he's watching some Brazilian dance show with women in like big thong bikinis, like shaking their asses to like music. And he's
You
just
had him
sitting
on
there
regular
watching.
YouTube?
Yeah. And I was like, wow. I mean, I was proud, but God, if your mother sees this, I'm a dead man.
Right, you're in trouble.
So we immediately locked down and found out how to do YouTube. But
Either of you guys into Bitcoin?
I'm
no.
not currently, no.
Paul?
Have
Paul,
you been
seem-
in?
So Paul, you seem like you'd be a Bitcoin guy.
You know what? I'm a very aggressive investor with like people that know what they're doing, like a financial advisor, and I invest pretty heavily in the stock market, but not only long stocks. Like I don't take any of those like crazy risks. So no, a Bitcoin, I don't have anything against it. I'm afraid of it because I don't understand it. And do I really want to take, half my day to learn it for 6 months. I don't know.
It seems to.
Why do you ask? Do you know some people that have lost fortunes this week?
I know a lot of people because everybody around me was telling me to get into them earlier. I don't know what their position was this week, but it did take a bath this week, and it bought. Coop mentioned it. We had a guest right when Bitcoin was starting to get popular. We had a guest on KMA.
Yeah, he's a Bitcoin author. He wrote a whole novel about the blockchain that it's based off of, I guess.
It was the first time ever, the first and only time I ever literally hung up on a guest. Like we spent. Listen, I didn't realize. I went back and watched it. That was a 30-minute interview. It wasn't a short.
I can't believe it was that long.
It was long, man. And you know why it was so long? Because in the 30 minutes, he never addressed the one question.
Right. You kept asking the same question over and over again, right?
I wanted to know where all the money goes and then what happened, what protects it, and he just never answered that question. So Coop brought it up.
What money goes?
Well, when you buy Bitcoin, right? When you buy Bitcoin to invest or have it to use to spend, money goes somewhere.
To the person that sold you the Bitcoin.
Okay, the company, the person, right? Well, who's watching that money?
What do you mean? It's their money.
I get it. It's their. Well, it's not their money.
No, it is.
Okay, so let me ask you something.
It's like a stock. It's like a stock. For you to sell a stock, somebody has to buy it.
I get it like a stock, but the financial institution has that money, and you have a representation of whatever the stock you buy. You have the paper worth. The money's there.
No, it doesn't work that way. Even in a stock, the financial institution doesn't have your money. The person who sold you,
well, yeah, that's true. The stock, yeah, the company, the corporation has your money.
What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, there's regulation. If you have stock, whatever the value is, or if you have money in a bank, when you want your money, you'll get it.
This is true.
You're not going to go and sell your stock and not be able to get your money. Why are you shaking your head?
That's true, because that's not true.
Give me an example of how.
If I have 2,000 shares of Apple right now and I want to sell it, I can sell it.
Sell it at what price?
We're not talking about the value.
The asking price.
We're just saying the money. Listen, we're not talking about the value of it. We're just saying the money's there. You'll get your money, whatever the value is, up, down, whatever.
The money is there based on who's willing to buy your stock. When you sell a stock, there's somebody on the other end buying it. That's not correct. That's not true. It's not true.
Yeah, you have to add, you bid for somebody to sell.
Right.
You sell and you put a bid out there, and then somebody. Yeah.
So here is the I guess the gift and the curse or the gamble is it's not regulated. So
that's my whole point.
But that's the gift and the curse. Yeah, regulated is what does regulated mean? The government gets their end in some way or another. So there's this gamble that it's not regulated and suddenly this shit could just go poof. But there's also the yes, I have value.
I'm with House. It has all the elements of a Ponzi scam, and sooner or later. Sooner or later, a good chunk of people are going to take it up the rear, and it's going to, it eventually's got to be regulated, man. Who's insuring? Listen, didn't it happen last year? Some company disappeared with like $300 million.
Really?
There was an article last year. I read it. $300. They had $300 million, some big number, and gone. And whoever bought Bitcoin with
Bernie
them,
Madoff style,
gone. That's the problem. What stops that?
There is no but that's the whole point of it, that there is no regulation.
Right.
It was a good episode.
Well, Dave,
I think
that's the other thing we were talking about. Like, if you have $50 million in Bitcoin, how long does it take for you to sell that to, because there's limitations on how much money you can take out at one time. And that's another concern with it. So I don't know.
So wait a minute, because I just want to address something, because not to get on, because I'm not really a Bitcoin guy anyway, but so it's a pyramid where only the whales win because they control the price, who then Daniel agrees with.
I think that's the whole stock market pretty much.
Tell me how that's any
Yeah,
different than the stock
that's
market.
80% of the stock market.
So we can argue
that's capitalism
about Bitcoin and it not being and this and that, but that argument is tell me how
that's the system in
anyway.
It's not. But
what did you want to say?
The argument could be made.
Was that what you wanted to say?
That's not a valid argument. I mean, the stock market works the same way. It's the retail investors who take it in the ass in the stock market.
But the argument can be made that the SEC is there for at least some kind of oversight to make sure that there's not insider trade. I mean, obviously,
listen. Here's my main issue with the current regular stock market stocks, right, or commodities. You have SEC, you have regulation, you have whatever, and they're still scamming the fuck out of people and blowing up stock. What the fuck's going on in an unregulated one?
And Tim's right. NFTs are a whole other thing that I don't understand. A picture represents. I just don't even get it. I'm gonna copy and paste that picture if it's worth $1 million. Then, there's a code associated. Blah 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 blah. It's very strange, man. And it's a maze. Not a maze. It's like a rabbit hole that I don't want to go down into.
There was a funny quote. From that episode where the guy literally says, well, it's kind of like emails, they really don't exist anywhere. It's kind of like Bitcoin. It really doesn't exist anywhere. Okay. He really said that. It doesn't really exist anywhere. I mean, NFT Bitcoins or, look, in any kind of these things, I always believe, there are the people who eat and there are people who are going to get eaten. Right. And I just think they're just making shit up and blowing it up so people jump on board and people are getting rich, and then the hammer is going to hit, and then maybe you'll be regulated. And I just don't even understand what the need with the Bitcoin was. And then when I watched the episode, that was the whole argument. The guy was telling me, well, you could do secure contracts. If a guy doesn't do his deal, you don't get paid. I said, every major credit card has that same thing. You can pay by credit card. I mean, between credit card, Zelle, Cash App, whatever, I just don't even understand why you would need Bitcoin to buy anything or purchase anything.
Right.
What do you mean? I don't understand that. It isn't based on anything real.
Well, and I was just going to say the argument could be made for any currency. I mean,
what is the US dollar
based on anything real?
Right.
Yeah.
It's not based
We're off
on
the gold standard.
Well, listen to me. But here's in defense to Daniel, right? The US dollar is based on the fact that the government backs it and says that this is what it's worth. If my bank collapses and goes under, the government is insured that I'll get my money that I had in the bank.
Not if you bank with Chase.
Well, not all of it, and
not if you have a Chase.
Well, no, up to a certain amount, yes.
Chase is FDIC insured.
No, they're not.
Okay, Alex, that's fine, but majority of banks in America are FDIC insured.
But regardless, that doesn't mean you're going to get all your money back either. But
from where, a bank? From where?
Yeah, with an FDIC insured bank, it's only like you said, it's up to a certain amount.
It's $250,000. I mean, that's why people have multiple banks,
right?
Do
you want me to play this little clip?
No, we kind of discussed it anyway. We're good. Let's.
Okay.
We got an interesting guest this week. Maybe he can explain Bitcoin to us a little bit better. Let's bring on our special guest and hear our Meet Your Maker segment.
I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell.
It's time to meet your maker.
There he is.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Beautiful day in South Florida. Let me just tell you, I was starting to get bored with this thing about the coin, Bitcoin. I just don't understand that.
It's the talk of the week, you know.
I
mean,
know, I
it's what
know.
the guys
I
are
know.
talking about in the shop, and
I was an early investor. I was.
you,
I like the fact that it was not regulated, and I just like the fact that I can pay with something without the government being interfering on that. But then it started going crazy, and I just, there was all these new companies involved and what have you, and I just like, I let it go. Plus, I change computers all the time, and I have some people that lost their information, and I have some friends that they stole the passwords to the computers, and they took all the information. I just don't understand that. It's better to have something on my wallet, right, so I can pay for it. So anyway, I am the wrong person to ask about that.
I thought it was a long shot, but I said maybe Rafael could explain it to us.
Well,
Listen,
you knew the answer to that one.
Well, you're a cultured man, Rafael. You never know. We figured
I
you
did
might know
get
something.
involved right from the beginning. I really felt it was, everybody has been trying, and it's funny. It's funny because Abe was making the point in your conversation that it's not regulated, but I know Abe is against regulations, or it seems like some regulations it's okay with. I just like the government to be out of all of these things, and I think it started because it's a way, as we've been finding out different ways, to get the government out of regulating these things. But you have risk associated with that, and then it's the whole thing about this new age of computers and gadgets, and it is way too much. It moved too fast for me, so I couldn't understand it.
so just to be clear, Rafael, I'm not against regulation. Regulation needs to exist and be done properly and minimalistically,
Right.
But the problem is, we all know there's overreach and everything's trying to be regulated for a profit. Not its real intention and purpose is to protect people and keep people from hurting people. I mean, that's really, if anything needs to be regulated, that should be the purpose.
Absolutely, absolutely. But when they try to regulate your money and want to watch what you pay with it and what you buy with it, and and all that, I think that's why it started. But it just became it kept growing and growing, and I thought at the beginning it was fairly simple, but then it just got complicated when you got people involved, the companies involved with this, and selling stocks based on that, and that's what I think. It lost me. I mean, it really went over my head.
Anyways, let's talk about more interesting stuff.
Stuff that we enjoy.
Oh my God! Yes.
Rafael, we've had you on the show multiple times, and I remember a lot from our first interview because we really got to know you on our first interview. I'm not sure if all our listeners and fans really know the history of you personally coming to this country and how you got here. You might be tired of saying it, but would you just mind sharing? Because it's really an incredible story. Can you share how you came to this country?
Yeah. Well, first of all, just want to say I feel part of this show. I listen to this show and watch you guys every Saturday. So for me, it's either been the different though is that I would have been at the beach right now, sitting with a cigar and a coffee, or maybe it's a little rum, a little early, but that's okay. It's 5 p.m. somewhere in the world. And the difference is either doing that or talking to you guys. So thank you very much. I love it. I love this show.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, listen, my story, which, some people say it's inspiring, but it's basically not very different than many of our families, of our parents, of our grandparents, and people that we know that came to this country looking for freedom and opportunity. And so for me, it started back in Cuba in 1980. There was something called the Mariel boat leaf, and during that time, in the summer of 1980, about 125,000 people left Cuba on boats. They open up. They say whoever can come and get you guys from the United States or from whatever, you can leave. You can leave. So we had a friend that went and picked us up, and we spent 4 days on the sea.
How old were you at this point?
I was 15. I tell you, I have a lot of great memories from Cuba. Some are not as good, but those I kind of put it behind. And so I was 15. I got on a boat with 300 people. Even to that point, to get to the boat, it was very difficult because they put
And it
us.
wasn't a big boat. I mean, let's
No.
when you
It
say
was,
300 people, let's be clear.
yeah,
This wasn't a
yeah.
big
No, it
boat.
was. We were like this to each other. It's like living in New York City in an apartment with 300 people, pretty much, and no water, no food, a really bad storm. As a matter of fact, I watched this. There's a great movie, The Perfect Storm, and that's what I felt right where I was into. Maybe it was not as bad, but I tell you, that's how I felt. You got the waves that really cover the whole boat, and then the boat will come out with no water, no food. It was really incredible. And I remember one day, Abe, in the morning, that must have been 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. The sun was still starting to come out, and we were lost. We had no power on the boat. We were lost in the Strait of Florida, and we saw this amazing big, which now I realize it was not that big, but at the moment it looked like amazingly big. It was a Coast Guard and the American flag on the sun. It was just so romantic. I seen it on movies, kind of thing. And then we got helicopters that pick up people from the boat, and we were taken to Key West. So I got to Key West May 31st of 1980. I celebrate my second birthday that day. So it was an amazing experience.
Let me just also ask, right? This trip typically is like 12 hours?
12, 13 hours.
Right. And how long were you at sea?
We were about 4 days.
4 days at sea.
Yeah, we got lost. The boat, the motors broke. No communication. There was a bad storm, and we were lost on the sea.
Do you look back on that and just say it's amazing that you lived?
Let me just tell you, I give thanks. Truly, I mean, this is true. I wake up every morning, and the first thing that I do is give thanks to my parents that had the courage to get in that boat. Think about us. Think about our age, and you guys are younger, but Abe and I are a little bit older. Think about putting your family in a boat like that.
We're wiser. We like to say we're wiser. We're wiser.
Well, don't ask my wife. She will not agree with that statement. But anyway, especially since I'm smoking here. But anyway, think about that. If we putting our family into a boat right now to get out of the country, not knowing where you're going to find in the other side, going to a country that we have some family and some relatives and some friends, but not speaking the language, not having any money, perhaps dying in the journey. But that tells you about the human ability to fight for freedom and for opportunity for the kids, right? So every morning, the first thing that I do, and this is something that I do every single morning, wake up, give thanks to God and my parents for doing that, and for this amazing country that has given us. What an opportunity.
I mean,
wow.
Just imagine, and this is what, when you see this younger generation, new generation talk about socialism and communism and whatnot, imagine what life was that your parents said that, yeah, we need to do this and get on a boat and risk our lives to come to this country.
We need to take the biggest risk of our lives.
Yeah. And, and then
for the hope.
And then you have these people who just think, oh, no, this is a good thing. I mean, look, can you share a little bit with us? What was it like? I mean, you didn't leave at a young age. You were 15. I mean, you remember your childhood. What was childhood like in Cuba?
Listen, thinking back, it was a great family time. I was a very happy kid, but we were in difficult situations. I don't remember the times that my parents had no food and we still ate, and we we ate. My parents will hit us if we didn't eat everything on the plate, because they say, how many people are not eating, and you don't know how much we went to get this a little bit of food, right? So food was was and I was not, I was a skinny kid. I've been eating. That's why I've been eating since I got to this country. I have been trying to put up, everything that happened before. My mom, and this is something serious. My mom tells me, Rafael, it's been 40 years. Forget it. You ate enough.
That's great.
Because, oh my God, I never had this. I remember this. But more than that, it was about the freedom of the mind, right? Because when my father got here, he never made a lot of money, and he was the happiest man ever, right? Because he said we are free, and you can think and you can believe and whatever. And so he let us be whatever we wanted because we didn't have that opportunity in Cuba. When I was 10 years old, how old are you kids right now, Abe?
They are 14 to 7.
It's 7 and 14. When I was 10 years old, if I wanted to continue studying, they sent me to the countryside where I have a school that I was only able to see my parents every 21 days. And
Wow.
that was only if I made my daily goal in the countryside cutting. I was at the time working on the orange trees, and we have to take the orange down. We have to put water on the orange, and we have certain things goal that we have to do every day. If we didn't meet that, I was 10 years old. Give me a break. And if I didn't meet those goals, I wouldn't be able to see my parents every 21 days. And sometimes, we miss those goals and we have to another period of without 10 years old. Think about that. You're a kid, 10 years old. It's amazing. We used to spend every morning about 30 to 45 minutes sitting outside the school telling us, it was called the Revolutionary Act. So they would tell us every morning since I remember. So me have been 6, 7, 8 years old. Every morning, why American was bad, what imperialism was bad, and why communism was good. Every single morning. I mean, it's
They wanted to indoctrinize you.
talking about brainwash.
It was kind of like brainwashing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then, you know what? I talk to a lot of American friends, right? I talk to people from here that have been blessed. You guys have been blessed. I hear complaints, right? The pandemic and this and that. I said, let me tell you, this is nothing. We are free, and we have to fight for our freedoms, because, once they take one little freedom away, it never comes back. So we know what it is, because it's all about the philosophy. It's all about the philosophy that I know what is good for me and my family, or the government telling us, oh, by the way, I'm sorry, you're wrong. You have no idea what you and your family need. I will tell you. I have to tell you, when I came here was during the not to get into politics, but I remember Reagan later on became the president, and one of the things that he always said that for me was amazing. One of the lines that I remember, it was from the speeches, is like, two lines. First is, listen, we are the government. There's nothing more scary like we are the government. We're here to help you. What that is,
right.
That is a line. And then another line, which I take very seriously, because I feel American. I love this country. And one of the best days of my life was when I became an American citizen. And one line that he said is in one of his last speeches, Reagan said, listen, you can live in Japan for 40 years and never be Japanese. You can live in France for 20 years, never be French, but you can live in the United States for any period of time and you can be an American. And that, let me tell you, that only happens in America. And what an amazing opportunity to be here.
How old were you when you officially became a citizen?
Well, I was able to get to be a citizen right 5 years after I got here, but I never did.
Oh, great.
But I never did because I always wanted to go back to Cuba. That was my dream.
Really?
I really wanted to. So I was a resident. I never wanted to become. It was an issue to travel. As a matter of fact, in the date of 9/11, I was at the French consulate that morning, getting a visa to go to France because I, had a residence, so I had to get a re-entry permit. I had to get a visa.
Right, you were a permanent resident, so
Exactly.
So every time you travel outside the U.S., yep.
But that day, when I saw that happen, I said, listen, I want to become a citizen of the United States because I will die for this country. And then I started my paperwork there, and I became a citizen when I was 33 years old. So I spent from 18. I could have been a citizen when I was 21, but I really thought, hey, listen, I'm going to be able to go back to Cuba. I'm going to be, able to help the country.
You thought the situation would change and you would end up going back.
Listen, my first cigar company that I started, I named it Habana Cuba Cigar Company. I said, hey, this is how, this is, it cannot last. It really cannot last. And man, was I wrong. And by the way, a lot of people, every single Cuban that came in from 1959, 60, 61, they all thought, hey, this is temporary. We're going to be able to go back right away. And then life happens, and then you see it's not going to happen. And if I was going to die for a country, it was going to be for the United States. So I became, and Kaisa became a citizen the same day. We did the Pledge of the Legion the same day in Miami Beach. What an amazing day!
Did he bring swag?
Oh, he was like giving Gurkha stuff to everyone.
I bet you he had the best packaging in the whole courthouse.
Yeah, that seemed pretty much. But what an amazing thing becoming a citizen. Now I'm a citizen of Spain as well. So, for not having, I'm a citizen of Cuba, although I don't have a passport. I just don't want to have a passport from Cuba. But I'm now a citizen of Spain and a citizen of the United States. Amazing.
I love this guy. Wow. I love this guy. So listen, I want to spend the first hour really talking about you and your progression, and this hour two we'll get a little bit more about your tenure and what's going on in the cigar industry. When you landed in Key West, what's the first thing you remember?
Oh, let me tell you, like if it was today. First of all, after being all these days on the sea, right? With no
I'm sorry, I got to ask. I hate to interrupt you, but the questions just keep popping in my head.
Right there.
Was there food?
No food, no water. The first day we had, they
expected a 12-hour ride. Yeah.
A few hours. But then the storm came in, and, the captain and the people that helped us said, listen, there's a storm coming. We don't want to stay here, because then we were afraid that they might be able to leave or not. It was, we were all afraid of that. And we were 20 family members and friends. And the government put 280 people from prisons and mental institutions in the boat. So they wanted to show the world that you have to be either crazy or were a criminal to leave that communist paradise. So, and that's why in 1980, I don't know if you remember, and that's where the movie Scarface came out and all those things. Because in fact, if you were in prison and you were in jail, and they will ask you, hey, you want to stay here for 40 years prison term, or you want to go to the United States? Well, what an answer. And those people, they put it directly in the boat. And so we decided to leave. So no food, no water. You have to do your own necessity right there standing. You can, there was no space. Thanks God the water, the sea will clean that up immediately. And people were sick. Physically sick, because the waves were maybe 10, 11 feet high and down.
And they're just throwing up on people.
Oh, on your own clothes. That clothes we got here.
God.
The first thing is, thank you, Jeff. Let me just tell you, the first thing they did when we got there to Key West, and that's why I love Key West, I go all the time, they gave us an apple and a Coca-Cola. Very, very cold Coca-Cola. Let me tell you, heaven. I never seen an apple in my life. I seen it in movies and what have you.
You grew up and never had an apple.
Yeah, no apples, right? Those are luxuries that we didn't have. It's not a fruit from there anyway. It's we don't have apples there. The winter is we don't have that type of fruits. But I never seen now you can buy apples anywhere in the world. Any country in the Caribbean. But Coca-Cola, man, what an amazing thing. Have that Coca-Cola, the 12 ounces. It still was the classic Coca-Cola thing, not the
bottle,
yet. And, oh, man, what an amazing thing. That was like, oh, wow, we made it to heaven. That was
my God. Just think about that.
Yeah. Little things.
So what did you think of your first apple?
Oh, let me just tell you, I don't eat. Well, I started eating more apple now because I'm trying to lose weight. But I stopped eating apple for a while. I still with the Coca-Cola, but especially with the rum, I do that great mix. But now I started eating apple again, and I said, "Oh my God!" And I had to tell you, every single time that I have the apple, every single time that I have a Coke, my mind goes to that moment.
So
Wow.
after that, did they put you in camps?
Yeah. They put us in a camp. There's a lot of people. Some of the people came to the. We were at a camp in Key West, and it was like a military type of camp. They helped us there.
But you were
They,
basically with a lot of crazy people and
yeah,
and and
you
and
know,
basically
but the
criminals.
human beings are amazing, right? So the spirit of survival, and then moments like this, you get the best out of people, right? So we really didn't see at the moment any problems. Everybody help each other. Sometimes the water or the wind will take you out, and people will hold you. It was just an amazing things. And there everybody behaved. I think the problems became later when some of the people went out, or they were kept in camp for a long time because they had no place to live. We were lucky enough. We were really lucky that a friend of ours. First, I'm going to tell you how we were able to live on the boat. But when we got here, a friend of ours from New York City that knew my father say, "Listen, you guys come here to New York with us." So we only spent a few days, 3 days on the camp, and then came to Miami for 1 week, and we left to New York City after that. But so it's. We were not in the camp for a long time, but there's some people that were, if you remember, on the I-95 corridor down here in Miami, there were a lot of people put there just because there was no place to house them, right? Until the charities, the organizations help to get us. For example, we got our airline tickets from through a charity organization to New York City. The idea was to get out of people of Miami, so not to have 125,000 people sitting here.
Wow. So now you go to New York. You see snow for the first time in your life.
Well,
what
I
was
went
it,
to summer.
what
It
was
was
it
a
like?
summer. It was June. It was June.
Well, you eventually saw snow.
I eventually saw snow, and I love the snow. Let me tell you, my wife doesn't like me saying this. My best 3 years of my life was when I got to New York City. Imagine this. I come from a little town called Ciego de Avila in Camagüey. Very, what I thought it was a city. Now I know it's a small town. And I go to New York City. We get there in evening. We go to Washington High. That's where we live for 3 years.
Oh wow.
Let me
Okay.
tell you, people were there all the time on the streets. Dominican people, Puerto Rican people were dancing, were listening to loud music, uh, buildings. For me, that was an amazing thing. Then I started high school, and then musical school, and I got to know New York City. I know every single subway. I know how you go, whether you use the 8th Avenue, you get the A train, the local, the thing. I took trains for everything. What a freedom. I was perhaps one of the few people at 15 years old that was taking a train at 4 o'clock in the morning, and my parents didn't know any better. Poor thing. And nothing happened. Thanks God. I love the city. And then, listen, I'm a musician. I started in Cuba violin when I was 6 years old.
You had access. I was going to ask because you said you went to music school. You actually had access to a violin in Cuba.
Yes, I did.
That couldn't
Well,
have been easy.
this is another story.
I was going to say that couldn't have been easy.
No, well, listen, it was. Here's what happened. So we don't celebrate Christmas in the Spanish countries. We celebrate now. We do, but as a religious thing. But the giving the gifts and things like that, it happens during the Three Kings Day, right? So it's January 5th, and I got a drums, a little set of drum. I was 5 years old. And I got a little set of drum. I love drums. And I told my parents, I want to go to music school. I want to learn drum. We go to music school. I said I want to play drum. And they say, no way. Drums is a capitalism imperialistic instrument.
The
Rock and
school,
roll.
the school said this.
A school.
Wow.
But you need to play violin if you want to study music, because that's from Russia. The working people will play. I have no idea, And I am 5 years old, 6 years old. I said, yeah, I want to study violin. So they give me a little violin. When you start, your daughter is playing violin. When you are a kid, it cannot be a full violin. You start with either, depending on the age, half or a 3/4. And I started with a 3/4 or a half. I'm not remember very well. And they gave me one, and I started musical school. And my mother told me, if you study violin, you need to finish it. I'm 6 years old. Like, yes, man, my mom will go with my belt sitting next to me for an hour every single day. And I didn't hate it, but I made them suffer because, Abe, at the beginning, right? Oh, my God. I made
It's a tough instrument, man.
It is a tough instrument, and
I don't care what instrument it is. When your kids are start learning an instrument, it's torture.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Now I'm blessed. I walk into my house. I'm hearing great piano. I'm hearing violin. If I'm lucky, they're jamming on a guitar. It's a blessing now. But man,
you suffered for years.
Yeah, well, that's when Now that I'm older, I know the love for the parents, right? Because to suffer that for the future of your kids. Because, by the way, music, even if you're not going to be a musician, right? And many of our kids will not become a musician, but the music helped them with many things, right?
I believe
with
that.
The understanding, with the thinking pattern, with the practice, with having the time every day and the time you put and the dedication.
Discipline.
Discipline. That's the word I was looking for.
I believe that. It's why. Listen, neither Brandy or I are musicians. I mean, none of us have a musical background, but we wanted that for our kids, and we believed in it. And the worst part is not even just the sound, right? Lessons ain't cheap. So then you're paying this money, and you don't understand because you never did music. And like a year later, I'm still hearing squeaking. I'm like, what am I paying for? When do they start sounding like they actually can play an instrument?
Right. It's not like a math tutor. You know what you're playing.
Yeah.
Holy
cow! How long before they actually sound like? Oh my God! They actually play an instrument.
But that day when they play a little song, whether it's "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" or whatever that is, or a Christmas
Mary
song,
had a little lamb.
Exactly. When they do that, and you feel, oh my God, it sounds like heaven, and then. Then ended up.
You listen to that for another year.
I know.
Yeah, I was going to say that was $3,000 to get to that point.
And I seen your videos, and I seen your video of your daughter. Then it becomes like, hey, when someone comes home, hey, play this, and many of the kids, like in your case, your daughter does very well, and she plays it, and she's happy playing that. I remember that I with Alan playing the the guitar, and when you guys did the Great Smoke, and it becomes fun, right? So it's really nice.
Now it's a blessing and a gift. Now,
absolutely.
Every time I go over to Abe's house, the kids are jamming, and your kids learned. Is it the Suzuki method? What's the method they learned? Because they can play by ear.
The older two studied the Suzuki method of music, and Petra the most. That's why I think she's the most attuned, because it's like a whole different. The basis of that teaching, I really didn't understand it because my wife was adamant about finding a Suzuki school, and like it wasn't easy, and I didn't get it. I'm like, what's the big deal? They learn how to play a violin, but it is, and now I understand it because
it is. The Suzuki method is fantastic. It's modern. It's different because I learned with the traditional method, which was you have solfege, you have ear training, and you have the traditional learning of the reading first and
reading the music first.
My kid Petra didn't read music like for many years because they teach you like the way kids learn to talk. Kids learn to talk and understand sound long before they actually can read. Right. And that's how they do with the music. They teach them all by the sound and feel and ear before they even attempt to teach them how to read music.
Absolutely. And
which is why she can listen to something and play it now.
Yeah. Petra can listen to a song she's never played before. She doesn't need sheet music. And about 15 minutes of twinkling around, she can play it.
Right. And it's also great because it's about playing with other kids, right, at the same time, and involves the family as well. So it's a whole community, and this Japanese method is very successful. It uses in a lot of places, and I think it's great. It gets all the kids playing together and doing this thing. It was just an amazing thing. But regardless of how you learn or what you do, because with the classical music, the thing that you miss is the freedom to like the jazz, right? So you have improvise and things like that, because there is such a structure way of learning that you cannot go out of the lines, right? You cannot go out of the lines.
No.
So yeah.
So you went to New York. You're at the School of Music. You're studying music. What did you think at this point you were going to do? Did you actually think you were going to go a career in music? Or
Absolutely, that's what I thought I was going to do all my life. So I was in high school. I'm in this bilingual high school in the Bronx. I was living in Washington High, but the family that I was staying with did not want us to go to Washington High because it was just, they have killed a kid the week before I started. It was just crazy. So we started at the Bronx, by putting a different address of the family members. I went to another school at the Bronx, still, and I know friends that are teachers there. John F. Kennedy High School in the Bronx, Riverside and 225th Street. I started there. I was misbehaving, right? I was just misbehaving left and right. And they called my mother, the consular called my mother. I said, what's going on? I said, well, he just arrived from Cuba. Da, da, da. This is a month into me being there. And the consul, and he plays violin. Does he has any interest? Yeah, he plays violin. No kidding. So her son ended up being a teacher at Manhattan School of Music, which is the old Juilliard building. When Juilliard moved to the Lincoln Center, this was the old school, and they continue many of the same teachers in both schools. And they gave me an audition. And man, I was 15. I had played since I was 6. I thought I was just very good, right? So they gave me a violin for the starting for 2 weeks. And I went to I was Tchaikovsky, second movement of the concerto for violin, and I have this down pat. I passed the audition. They gave me started on the Saturday program first. My first class. I go to school. I'm 15 years old. I think that like amazingly good musician, and they put me with kids that were 7, 8, 9 years old. I'm like, what is this? I'm sorry. I think, but I didn't speak English. I think
Humbling.
I'm the wrong class, with, I'm the only old case. No, you're in the right class, Kiro. So I'm there. The first thing was ear training class. And the teacher put a music, the Fifth Symphony from Beethoven, and put it on the tape recorder, the record player at the time, player, right? Record player, and it's 1980, and the idea was for the students, us, to write the sheet of music of what we were hearing,
Wow.
and then play it in front of the whole class, whatever instrument you want. And let me tell you, I spent the whole thing. I mean, it just sounded like terrible. And these kids, the teacher, I remember very clearly that day, the teacher, one of the kids, Kim, K-I-M, a kid from the Philippines, start playing the piano. And the teacher says, Kim, you wrote this in the Mozart style. Like, what am I into? I went crying to my house. I was 15, crying at my mom. I'm never going back. Well, my mom brought a friend that I have not seen in a while. It was the belt.
Did she pull out the belt?
She got a belt and said, "You're going back to school." And I went back, and I'm glad I did.
So,
and you have to remember too, Abe, like this is New York City in the 80s. So it's probably when New York was at its toughest in our lifetimes as far as crime, the highest murder rate. Like it was not and you're traveling on the subway. Is where you were in the Bronx? Is that like Riverdale area?
Riverdale area. So you have to take the A train until 225th. The one train that it goes over the bridge to 25. Then walk to Riverside. Then I have to walk from 181st Street to my house on 176 and Audubon. Let me tell you, innocence is a gift from God. I don't do that walk today. I don't do it. It's a little bit better. At the time, not only that, I so the teacher recommended this private teacher that it was in Burger Line in Union City. So I used to ride the subway to the 42nd station and take a bus to New Jersey. 42nd Street, the peep shows, the drugs, the prostitutes. It was a city. That thing that you see in Times Square now, like Disney World, and you get the thing. It was nothing like that. You have all these
show HBO had for a couple seasons.
Oh, exactly like that. Exactly.
Oh, God, well, it was Franco.
I don't know.
James Franco. What was that show? It was like I remember I was shocked because like the stuff they were showing like in the first episode of the season, like the first season, like whoa.
It was like that.
It was about Times Square.
If you drove through there, you locked the doors and rolled the window. We weren't allowed.
Do any of our listeners know what show I'm talking about?
No.
It was literally about New York and Times Square and the brothels and the prostitution and the porn industry before they developed Times Square. I gotta look.
But let me tell you, the people will dress. You got the pimps that will dress this like in the movies, right? So with the big hat, with this colorful animal print clothes, and
the Deuce.
I don't know. Yeah.
The Deuce.
Yeah, the Deuce.
Now the Deuce.
It was like that. It was like that.
It was 3 seasons, and it basically ended. It shows basically how Times Square got developed and what Times Square was like before.
And it was.
And you had to go into the Port Authority to get the bus. Which was another, probably one of the most dangerous places to be in New York City at that time.
With a violin. 50 years old, not speaking a lot of English. And then sometimes you get some quarters to go to the peep show, like, oh, maybe I can go there. Maybe, oh, no, you don't have an age. Give me your, it was just, listen. But I had to tell you, he had a lot of character in New York City at the time, right? So he had a lot of character. It was very dangerous, but he had a lot of character. Thanks God, New York City came, Victor is saying, New York came a long way. That's why I love New York. Whenever I do a new release of any cigars, I do it there. I was able to play at the Carnegie Hall, and it was just, I thought I was going to be a musician my whole life. I was in heaven.
Wow.
Such a cool story.
At what point do you remember realizing that you weren't going to be a musician and you had to start looking at another life career?
It started little by little because my mother, although I had been practicing for a year and a half conducting.
Wow, you conducted too?
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to do. And I started, they told me, what do you want to do? And you look at the orchestra and you playing, 100 people playing, and you see the conductor say, that's what I want to do. So I started, and I had an audition for Juilliard. And then my mother had an accident. She fell from the stairs. She broke her ankle in about 15 different places, was in bed for a year and a half with with nails and what have you. And the cold weather was terrible. So she and my parents decided to move to Florida, to Miami. Every Cuban dream is to come to Miami. And I listen, they have made it such a difficult choice for leaving the country. So I felt I needed to come with them. And I said, listen, I can continue music studies in Miami. But wow, 1983, I come to Miami. There is no musical. There's nothing. There's no symphony orchestra. Miami was very much a very antiquated city. And I used to cry every night. It was so difficult, but I started my own opera group, and that didn't go anywhere.
Wow.
And that is when I thought, little by little, this thing is not going anywhere. I used to play on the restaurants. They call it strolling violin. You go to table to table, and we'll get $1 here, $1 there. This is not a way to make a living, and there was no future on that. So I started as one of the persons that gave us money for the opera group. I was a doctor working in a hospital, and I asked him for help. Gave me my first job cleaning floors in a hospital. I was 19 years old, and that's when I thought this is not going to go anywhere.
And you ended up going into hospital administration. I mean,
Only in
Talk
America.
about working your way up from cleaning the floors
Only in
to
America. Okay.
being an administrator.
This can only be done in America. I started cleaning floors in that hospital, community hospital, Jewish hospital, Alton Road and 6th Street, Miami Beach. Our Jewish friend, remember, if you have parents or grandparents that live in Miami Beach, probably they were around that area. And I started my first job cleaning floors. Then I did help on the autopsies to make some extra money. I draw blood as a technician as well.
Wow.
And then there was an opening in outpatient registration. When you go to the emergency room and, someone register you, with a lot of computers, you have to do typing. I remember my first, my interview from that. I said, do you know how to type? Yeah, of course. Okay, well, Monday we're going to do a typing thing. I borrow a typewriter and the whole weekend, A, B,
Wow.
C. Oh, it was. But I got the job and then registered people. I remember, where do you live? Pennsylvania Avenue. I'm sorry, how can you spell Pennsylvania Avenue?
Wow.
Excuse me, you don't know how, but no, I don't know. So, but 5 years later, this is like amazing country. 5 years later, I moved my way up in different positions. I became the chief financial officer of the hospital, talking about the American dream.
Wow, I did not know that part of your career.
It's and then administrator, by the way. And then from there I went to a national company, psychiatric hospitals. I was executive director. It was based out of Annapolis, Maryland. I made there Hank Bishop, which is my partner in aging room, and Hank was a psychologist, a therapist. And one day, now talking to how I got into the cigar business, one day Hank says, hey, you're Cuban, you smoke cigar, right? Because you know what happened? If they think you're Cuban, you smoke cigar, you dance salsa, you know how to roast a pig, all this thing. And I said, no, I don't smoke. Well, let's go. And I go to Little Havana with him to buy the cigar from this little place that he will buy his cigar. And it was Nick Perdomo. I met Nick and this little thing by Flagger. Nick Cigars was called at the time. And I bought my first. Was in 1999. I bought my first box of cigar. It was La Tradición, and white label, box press a little bit. I smoked my first cigar with Nick Perdomo and Janine and his brothers-in-law were there. And I went that evening home and I told my wife, I know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And she's a psychiatrist, so she's, okay, what are you going to do, honey? What are you going to do? And I'm going to go into the cigar business.
It's a scheme.
Yeah, I'm gonna trade Bitcoin for the rest of my life. Yeah, okay, honey.
That's great.
And that's how I got hooked up with cigars.
Well, that's a perfect segue for us to go into hour number 2 of KMA Talk Radio. Don't go anywhere. We got a jam-packed second hour here, more with Rafael Nodal. We have Name That Jam. We have Tail of the Tape. And, of course, Would You Rather?
No coop.
Oh, well, there you go.
No coop.
Forgot about that. That didn't come up in our meeting yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Coop corn smoking, right?
Oh, that's right. All right. Well, we don't have Tail of the Tape, but we still got a lot of great stuff. We'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Keep it lit. Honest Abe here to tell you about a pretty badass event we got coming up this May 25th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's right, it's going to be me, Honest Abe, against the man from Miami, the Burger Beast. We are going to have a Camacho Bold Burger battle. That's right, we're going to do this both virtually and live in the store. We have 50 tickets for 50 who can come to the shop here in Boynton Beach at our headquarters and watch me and the Burger Beast grill it off. You'll get a sample of my burger and his burger, and you get to be the judge, see whose burger's better. All you have to do is buy one of our Camacho Bold Burger Battle kits. This is a 5-pack of Camacho cigars, along with a Coconut Cartel rub pack. It's got a gourmet oinks bacon in it, and a pretty cool hype kit that comes with it. We send that to your house along with a little mini bottle of Coconut Cartel rum, and you'll get to watch from home as we do this event live. Those attending the event live in person will get that same kit, but instead they'll get the coconut rum tasting in the store and be able to sample our burgers, my burger and the Burger Beast burgers, and you can tell us who makes the better burger. We also got 2 big raffle giveaways, one for the live attendees and one for the virtual. The live attendees will have a 1 in 50 chance of winning this epic M6 grill, solid steel grill. This grill has a $900 value, and for the 100 people who get tickets, will be watching at home with your Camacho Bold Burger Battle kits, you'll have a 1 in 100 chance to win a 1-year premium meat subscription from Climax Wagyu Farms. Pretty cool event for all. Tickets are on sale right now. Go to smokein.com and see who wins the Camacho Bold Burger Battle.
The H. Upman, Nicaragua by AJ Fernandez. The original versus the heritage. What's the difference between the two? The H. Upman, Nicaragua, AJ Fernandez heritage. The story of AJ Fernandez, coming from Cuba, raised by his grandmother out there, has a lot of love for the country, but also he loves tobacco. And he loves his new area, where he bought his farm called Finca La Lilia, named after his grandmother, Farm of Lily. So he's got the love of tobacco, he's got the love of Cuba, and he's got the love of Nicaragua. Let's put them all together. So that tells the story of this triple fermented Brazilian Matafina wrapper and AJ estate grown Nicaraguan binders and fillers, creating a beautiful array of some sweetness, soft leather, a little bit of spice, with nice aroma notes of black pepper and earth tones. We hope you go out and enjoy this one, that it really tells the story of AJ, his love of Cuba, Nicaragua, and H. Upman. So please go out and try one. I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. H. Upman, Nicaragua, AJ Fernandez, Heritage.
Paul, what are you doing?
Enjoying some Bonner private wines and circling the cul-de-sac. I'm doing viral marketing for our friends at KMAwines.com. Bonner Private Wines, they sell some really great Argentinian wines that you can't get anywhere else. And if you go to KMAwines.com, you can get a discount and join their Wine of the Month Club. Discount on shipping, discount on product, just because you're KMA viewers and listeners. So check it out, KMAwines.com. I'm just staying in the circle. I'm not like, drinking and driving. This is just viral marketing, letting these neighbors over here know what we're doing. But take a sip. I'm gonna just, KMAwines.com.
I'm drinking KMA wines. The sound is epic on that commercial.
That's about.
All right, I'll take it out of the rotation.
Yeah, it's good concept, awful sound. Back to hour number 2 of KMA Talk Radio. A couple points I want to talk about before we go into the show. First off, Altadis USA has a great giveaway going on. Visit our homepage at KMAtalkradio.com. All you got to do is enter your email address. We'll be doing a live drawing during one of our shows for that package. It is a 5-pack of the H. Upman AJ Fernandez cigars, a very cool cap, a lighter koozie, and a coffee mug. It comes in a pretty cool presentation box. So check it out. Go enter. It doesn't cost you anything, and anybody could win. KMAtalkradio.com. Also, our Camacho Bold Burger Battle. We still have tickets now. We're only limited to 50 in the store. And if you're going to come and watch the event live, and that's because we got to cook burgers, so there's only so many we can cook. But we're limited to 50 tickets in the store. There's still some. If you want to watch the event live and come to the event live, you purchase the tickets in the store. Any one of our fans who wants to watch it at home and get the same beautiful kit that everybody here is going to get, even a little bit of the Coconut Cartel rum. I saw the packaging. They delivered it yesterday. It's pretty badass. I'm going to do a video later in the week. We'll send you that kit and 2 amazing raffles. That grill is like a tank. I mean, you put a turret on it and you got a tank. Literally a tank.
It looks like it. It's going to weigh a ton.
Bro, moving it was just moving
Listen.
it outside. The video was a task.
You would put if you just looked at it and you say, I don't know. It's kind of I don't know if I.
You
if
think
this,
you could pick it up with one hand?
Yeah, you think like I don't know if will the wind blow this thing away outside? I mean, this thing is hurricane proof, dude. It is not moving.
It's Cat 5 proof, man. That thing is you could weigh things down with it. Yeah. So the 50 live attendees, because we're not shipping that thing. The 50 live attendees will have a chance to win that. And of all our fans and also people who want to watch at home and participate with us and get the kits, you guys are still going to get an epic chance because there's only 100 of those tickets. Some still available. Go to smoking.com. You'll win a 1-year meat subscription to Climax Wagyu Farm. So 2 good odds for 2 good competitions.
So
And
if
I'm
they
having
win,
fun.
so question is, they win this the barbecue. Do they get to take it that day right there?
We're making them take it that day. we want it out of this building, man. That thing's a tank. So
come prepare, guys. Come with them.
come prepared. Come ready to take that grill if you win. But this is gonna be fun. I've always cooked burgers. It's one of my fun things I like to do. Alex has been over to the house a couple times, cooked burgers. So I'm doing a little bit of homework and a little bit of testing to see what kind of burger I'm gonna put up against the Burger Beast. So
That's
hopefully Central Florida can represent over Miami. We'll see what happens, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's fun. I'm rooting for you. I was going to say Miami, but I wasn't sure you'll put my audio like the video.
No, we're the home team, Rafael. We're the home team.
There you go.
There we go. Also, Rafael, you got a couple. You're sporting a cool shirt this morning.
There you go. Well, I got it. So I just got it yesterday. I started wearing yesterday, and I said, wow, since I'm going to the show, what a great opportunity. So I want to do a giveaway here in Facebook Live and some of your comments. Guys, if you can put what cigar you're smoking. Originally, I say, any Altadis USA cigars, Monte Cristo, Ed Shortman, Romeo and Juliet, Aging Room, and Henry Clay or Trinidad. But you know what? Any cigars that you're smoking, put it here on Facebook. If you listen to us or watching us live and Facebook Live, put what cigar you're smoking. We'll pick at random. By the way, this is me personally, not connected to the company, not connected to Altadis USA or Tabacalera USA. And I will ship you. I will connect you there to message you there. I will choose at the end after the end of the show, we'll choose 3 people there that put the cigar and we'll send it. I only have large, extra large, and 2 extra large. So I'm sorry if you're skinny. I'm sorry. I didn't think about skinny people. I didn't know that.
We never do. We never do, Rafael. We never do.
I didn't know those people. I say, so put the cigar you're smoking, guys, there. Any cigar, because
Do they have to post a picture?
Post a picture of any cigar you're smoking, because at the end of the day, guys, you cannot listen to this show without smoking the cigar. Light it up. Right. Send us the picture, and we'll pick 3 names at random. Ladies, if you're smoking, I can only send you large. That's all. But hopefully that will do. It's not give it away.
There you go. So another great little giveaway on KMA Talk Radio.
Alan, it's not only recommending, and I absolutely appreciate always you're the biggest supporter of Monte Cristo 1935. You need to post a picture. Put a picture.
Yes. So that being said, before we get more into cigar talk, we have our little segment we always do at the top of the hour, which should be right up your alley, Rafael. It's Name That Jam. It's presented by Avo Cigars, and we're going to get ready to test your musical acumen right now.
Well, I'm afraid of that. Let's go.
Okay, this is real simple, Rafael. We're going to play you 3 seconds of a song, and we're going to see if you can name that jam. Hit it.
Well, I know it's from Buena Vista. I know it's from the Buena Vista one. I don't know the name of the song. Should we have like a line, like on TV shows that they have the line?
You want a lifeline? You want a lifeline? We'll let you make one phone call.
Okay. No, that is. I know it is from Buena Vista. It is one of the most
All right, you're
beautiful
halfway
towns.
there.
Yeah. I just don't know. I just let me see. I know the
You want to
song.
hear it again?
Well, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it again.
All right.
Pam, 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 pam. But I just don't know the name. Oh my God. I'm so embarrassed. I was afraid of this, by the way. I was afraid of this. I should know this because I listened to the whole CD so many times. It's actually one of the best cigar music I know there is. I don't know the name of the song.
We
I
got
know
two
I have a
guesses.
couple of guys that are guessing. Yeah. Do you want
Yeah.
to?
Okay,
One
so
nail.
let's see. Well,
One
let's see,
nail.
guys. Help me out. Let's see.
Do you agree right there? Look at the screen, Rafael. He said Chan Chan or one. Any of those? You
I
agree
know
with?
it's Buena Vista
Club
Social
band.
Club is from that CD, but I don't know that it's Chan Chan. No, I don't know. I just
You,
don't know.
you disagree. You disagree. It's not Chan Chan.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think it is.
All right.
All right, Alex picked the toughie. Let's find out. Let's see who if it's Chan Chan or not.
Ooh, what a bad cue.
De Alto Cero voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarín.
Okay, well, the name of the song wasn't there. What is the name of the
Yeah,
song?
that's Chen Chen.
Chan
Oh,
Chan.
it is Chan
my
Chan.
God.
Chen.
What a mess. I'm sorry. You got
Well
you got
done,
it.
Steve
There you go,
Newman.
Steve.
Yeah.
Steve, you got it, my friend.
Well,
Chin
my
Chin's
dear
actually
friend-
a great song. Besides, the song itself is great, but the story of the song is essentially, in a nutshell, in English, is this couple and they're building a house and they go to the beach to get sand on the beach, and he's putting sand in a sieve and he gives it to the girl who starts shaking the sieve and her whole body starts to shake and he kind of gets embarrassed because he sees her shaking. Yeah.
It's a great song. But
Well-
the whole thing, right, is it's great to dance. So 1-0-0-0 so far. Let's go.
Rafael, you did not name that jam.
I know.
Thank you, and thanks again to our fine folks over at Our Cigars for sponsoring that segment. Our Cigars, eloquently composing music with tobacco for decades. Thank you very much.
Abo, let me tell you, what a personality. I got to know Abo at the end of his life. We spent a lot of time together in Dominican, in Camp David, the hotel on top of the mountain. What a personality. What a love for life.
Even in his latter years, he didn't slow down at all.
No, and I think he got more, he got more energy, man. It's
He
what
got
a
more
great-
order. He really did.
Did you guys ever play together?
No, I did. You know what? The IPCPR at the time was called, or RTDA before. I took a piano one year. I was new in the industry. I didn't know him. And I took a piano one day in my booth and I put it. And then he had another piano there. I was the last time I took pianos to the, because, next to that guy, right? So, I mean, you're always looking for an angle to sell the cigars.
Right.
But listen, that's something that you cannot compete. No, we never got to play. Although I played for him one time there at the show. He passed by the bathroom, so he came and I played which I was very embarrassed, but I did play the Strangers in the Night, and he gave me this, and that was it. I asked him to play. I was going to ask him to play. I didn't ask him to play because I would definitely going to be so embarrassed after that. But yeah, what a great guy.
One of the coolest events that we ever did with Avo, we called it a night under the stars with Avo Vizian. We actually bought a grand piano out to the courtyard of our old West Palm Beach location, and he just did like a concert. We bought in an accompaniment, I think 4 or 5 pieces, and they just played and we smoked cigars all night. And it was probably one of the coolest events I've done in my career.
Absolutely.
It was actually very, very cool.
Amazing.
So, Rafael, we got to the point now where your buddy Hank talked you into starting a cigar company. At that time, I believe, was this when you named it Havana?
Cuba Cigar Company. Well, so he got me to smoke cigar. Then I decided I want to go into the cigar business. So I obviously spoke to him and we started selling cigar on the internet. At the time, I met a lot of people. It was a great opportunity to meet a lot of people. Obviously, I knew now Nick Perdomo. And I met Ernesto Perez Carrillo. I started something online called avilacigars.com, and I started cigars on the internet. And that was fun. I met a lot of people, puros indios at the time.
Yeah.
I met George Rico when he was just a baby, working with his father and in A Street. So I met all these cool people, and I said, you know what? I want to go into manufacturing. I met these people from Olivero Cigars, and I bought their brand, and I opened up a new factory in 2002. And listen, I thought this was going to be a done deal. This is the easiest thing. Listen, I have been cleaning floors, made it to CFO of a company, made it to administrator, made it to executive director, a national psychiatric company. I got this. Let me tell you guys, the most difficult thing that I ever done in my life is cigars. There's a lot more than cigars. I remember meeting you, Abe, in the office when Nick has moved to Miami Lakes, where I was living at the time. He moved his office there. I remember going to his office and having you saw you sitting in the couch, right, and see you there on the couch, and and they told me, no, Nick is with an important guy there. And, I go inside and you're there, and this thing, and wow, I met you for the first time there. That was. I knew that I wanted to be in this industry. I knew that I really, really wanted, because a lot of cool people in the industry, man. It was just great.
So how did your experience was? Because I remember carrying the brand Oliveros. How did you experience? At one point, the Oliveros vanilla cigar was probably the hottest selling vanilla cigar on the market. Cedar wrap, glass tubes. I remember them. At what point? How was your experience in that part?
It was great. Listen, we started with Oliveros flavors. They had it already. So the Long Ladies, or the sweet and honey, and then, the flavors. Then they had the Oliveros Kale Cognac at the time. So it was making the glass tubes. And with cognac, it was a fuse, and the other companies later on did that as well.
Now, was Hank working with you at this point?
Yes. So we always been.
We always stayed together along the way.
Hank has been to my side from the beginning. I'm very loyal. He's very loyal. We just love working together. I think he's been longer than both of my wives together. So that's
wow.
It says a lot. So it's yeah. So he is really the one that had the love and the business mind. Hank remembers every single name of every single store, every single owner's name. He knows what they ordered. They know when they order. They know the market. It's just an incredible guy. But from the beginning, I knew the flavor cigar was not the future of the cigars. I was coming from healthcare, and I said, listen, the FDA will not allow flavor cigars. That was back in 1999 or 2002. And so I started making regular cigar, premium cigar. I start with Nick Perdomo. He made my Oliveros Gran Reserva from the beginning. Yeah. Hank is the man. That's correct. And we started because I thought there's no way, knowing from healthcare, the FDA, there's no way that flavors can survive in an environment of regulation. And so I left healthcare because, FDA regulations, and get here. And guess what? We're now FDA and the regulations. But it took a long time. It's still flavor cigars in the market. But I went to premium cigar, and I fell in love with everything about cigars. So my dream was making flavor, a premium cigar. But I have to tell you, very difficult. And it's so funny that you put Perdomo right now, because I'm only in this industry because of Nick Perdomo. What an amazing guy. I went that night to my house when I spoke to my wife. I said, I met this incredible guy with so much energy, enthusiastic, so much passion. And I basically had no passion for healthcare. It was great to make money, but it's hard to have passion unless you're a doctor, right?
Nick Perdomo also made the first cigars for a young up and coming couple of guys right out of college. A couple guys named Jonathan Drew and Marvin Samuel.
I remember their relationship. Yes,
Drew Estate.
I did not know that. Yeah, I did not know that. Nick's a great guy. Also started in another career. I mean, he had a really successful career as an air traffic controller, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. Wow. And I remember the factory because I remember traveling with Jonathan and Michael Argenti in Esteli, And I remember Jonathan when they took over the old Perdomo factory.
Yeah, that was their first factory. It was Nick's
Yeah,
old
that was the
factory.
first factory, and there on the second floor, and Nick Perdomo's father was living downstairs until they built a new house, and it was just an incredible the journey of Jonathan, because this weekend they're doing the barn
Barn smoker.
barn smoker. What a journey! And I saw a video yesterday of him telling the story from the beginning. What a journey! What a journey in the industry. This industry is full of people with dreams. And look at you guys. Look at you, Abe, what you have done, working hard, getting here. It is about working hard. I love the industry because of the people of the industry, basically.
If you would have told me we'd still be doing a show 11 years later, I would have never believed it. Our first, we only signed on for 13 weeks. Who would ever thought?
Well, I have to tell you, the only thing that I didn't like about doing the show is that I had to drive so far from Miami to get to the station, and it killed my whole Saturday. And I love being able to do it from home now. So the whole pandemic has changed our life, and some are difficult, that some others are nicer, and being able to do it from here, what an amazing thing.
It's been a lot easier getting guests. Let me tell you that, without a doubt. So you had your thing and boutique, and how did boutique blends begin?
So things were going terrible. I was trying to make cigar for everybody. I was just trying. Listen, it's hard to compete with the major companies, right? Because the major company have the resources, have the different brands. It was very difficult. I was trying to make cigar for everybody. You like mild cigar? Let me do that. But in the meantime, I did Oliveros XL for Men, which was a blend with five different countries. Very good cigar. The name was terrible because there's a lot more that goes into a cigar than just having a good blend. And consistency, all these things I was just doing extremely bad. I was buying tobacco that I didn't know what I was buying. I lost every single dollar and then some of whatever I had saved in the healthcare industry. But I really wanted to stick with it. And in 2011, I was tired of this. This was not going anywhere, right? So I was not, my wife said, get out of this. We're in debt. I was making money in healthcare and I was losing money here. It was crazy. And then I made a decision. Listen, I just going to have fun. I'm going to make cigars that I like. I'm going to blend cigars that I like. If people buy it, great. If not, I'm going to smoke it anyway. At least I can smoke something that I like because I had an inventory of stuff that I didn't really like. And that's how Boutique Blends was created 2011 as an alternative, as a way to have a laboratory of ideas, new blends, small batches, things like that. Because at the end of the day, it was to fight with the big companies that sometimes they're not able to do these small blends. And as soon as I started doing that, guys, the whole thing changed, right? To 2011, we got one of the top 25 cigars of Cigar Aficionado. A few years later, 13, we got the number 2 with the Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. A blend, by the way, that no one from the beginning liked. No one liked, but I really thought it was good, and I continue, and we did, and it opened up a lot of doors, and I got a lot of attention, and they continue like that with different smaller batches, and my whole life changed until I got this amazing opportunity. Our president, Javier Estales, a good friend and a great president, gave me the opportunity to come to Tabacalera USA, Altadis USA, not only to distribute my Aging Room brand, a small boutique brand.
Did that start out as a meeting for distribution only? Because it's not a common thing you'll see a brand owner.
No, it's not. It's not.
It started as a friendship.
It started as a friendship. We love cigars. I love what they were doing. Actually, they made a cigar, Romeo by Romeo and Juliet, that I fell in love with it. Red and white box, right?
I remember we carry it still.
Exactly. 2012, I think, it was the number 3 cigar by Cigar Aficionado, and I fell in love. And I remember buying a lot of those cigars and smoking a lot of those cigars. And I decided to go to Altadis and telling them I wanted to do a Romeo by Romeo and Juliet aging room. Just the name was this long. And obviously my partner Hank and everybody told me, you're crazy, you know, they never look at you. But I told them, listen, there's a boutique angle that you guys should address. I want to do this for you. And to my big surprise, they said yes. And we did the Romeo by Romeo and Juliet aging room. I mean, think about that. A brand that no one knew, working with a legendary brand. They gave me, I asked, and they they gave it to me. Complete autonomous decision on the art, on the blend, on the names of the vitola, because I always name them musical related. Although I feel now very bad that I didn't name the tune, but besides that, besides you guys embarrassed me on that, but anyway, we you know, I they gave me the opportunity, and that's how the whole thing started.
Wow. And oddly enough, your partner works with Placencia.
Yeah. So when I came,
I mean, this is really like unprecedented.
Yeah, no. We've done a lot of new stuff. So Placencia and AJ Fernandez are really, we as a company, Tabacalera USA, Altadis USA, doesn't have a factory in Nicaragua. So we work with two fantastic partners, AJ Fernandez and Placencia. We do a lot of stuff. They were friends of mine. My wife is from Pinar del Rio. My wife's family was in tobacco for 5 generations in Pinar del Rio. And actually, her father distributed La Aurora cigars before Miami Cigar did it. So she, you know, was related to a cigar, friends of the Placencia, friends of AJ Fernandez. And since I got this, I was helping Placencia to launch the new Placencia Alma Fuerte series. I since I met Nestor, I've been telling them they needed their own brand 15 years ago. And
they tried, Rafael. They had Placencia was on the market a few times, never successfully until this last time around. My opinion.
Absolutely, but this one we worked very hard because we knew what had gone wrong before. I learned a lot of different things during this time that we all put it together. The brand was designed with to look the same in all the different ones, different colors. We knew that we wanted to do a stronger cigar, high-end cigar, a lot of aged tobacco that they had, and it became very successful. So I was helping with that. I started as a small boutique, high-end, but I couldn't. When I took on this contract with Altadis and Tabacalera, I couldn't work on both. So Hank stayed with Placencia, and I continue with Tabacalera and Altadis, and that's how the relationship. And that's very proud of what. And they're great partners of ours at Altadis as well.
Who's running the aging room business?
The aging room is me and Hank. And
so you guys are still on top of what you're doing with your other duties. You're still overseeing that operations day to day.
Yes. We develop. So three different hats I wear. So the aging room, which is distributed by Altadis, and now we have a team in marketing which I also oversee, and we basically are in top of the production because it's our brand, and the blends and everything else. Because I do the blends, I develop the blends with the different factories and the people that we have as a team in Tabacalera USA, and then I'm also head the marketing department. So it's pretty busy. I love being busy. I love being able to create stuff. And now, so from someone that was doing terrible in the cigar industry, started aging room, and now got to blend, work with the factories, and oversee the marketing of Romeo and Juliet, Monte Cristo, H. Shortman, Henry Clay, Trinidad. Let me just tell you, it's a dream. If you don't believe in American dream, let me tell you, you're wrong.
You're living it.
I'm living it every single day. I am the happiest person on earth.
Speaking of Romeo and Julieta, Paul, do you have that picture of the bed of roses? This is one of the most beautiful pieces I've ever seen. It was supposed to ship in March. Paul's not ready.
It's going to ship now in May. We should be.
I was going to follow up with you because I didn't see it. I don't think it came out in March. And I'm trying to stall as much as I can so Paul can keep up and get this picture up. But this is a beautiful, exquisite
It's
piece.
coming out. It's coming out. We have the humidors already. The cigars, the bands was a problem. Right now, we have bottlenecks in many different parts of the system, as I'm sure you know.
Yep.
Getting those boxes for December. So we are getting the factory shipping those cigars. Shipped it actually yesterday. And as soon as we get it here, let it rest a little bit. We're going to be shipping. We have the humidor sitting there. A beautiful, different, if you will have tell anybody 2 years ago that you were going to do Romeo and Juliet with roses, white and red roses. I'm describing it because we're not going to get a picture. But anyway, so
yeah, I mean, Paul, we have these meetings the day before to prep for the show, and even helping Paul prep doesn't help.
Hey, well, let me tell you.
There's actually a specific question I wanted on this.
There you go. It's there, almost there.
He's trying.
Stop, Alex.
Okay,
Yeah,
if we waited for you, it never would have got there, Paul.
There you go.
Thank you, Alex.
There's two in there. We both uploaded ours.
Okay, so the 3 trays hold the cigars. I believe it's 18 cigars. And then the other trays are to put other cigars, lighters, cutters, and things like that. This picture actually doesn't give a lot. Doesn't give.
No, there was a picture of it closed, which is really pretty.
Because it doesn't give. It doesn't see the other angles. It's just an amazing, beautiful humidor. We're trying. The whole team of Altadis, should say, is just doing an amazing job. We're trying to bring this, get the best we can out of these fantastic brands. Because at the end of the day, listen. We're not the owners of Romeo and Juliet Monte Cristo. We are here.
Oh,
there you go. There you go. Look at that. We are the owners, but we want to make sure we just do better on the brands that we got it. And look at that. Better roses.
Those photographs are courtesy of Cigar Aficionado. I just want to say.
There you go. Well, I think we gave it to them anyway. So it's
No, I was going to say I think they're actually there.
Yeah, Cigar Aficionado says courtesy of Altadis.
Oh, it does. All right, well,
it's there for
good.
Beautiful. But anyway, we're doing a fantastic job. We released last year the Romeo Julieta Eternal, our first high-end Romeo, made also in coordination.
What's the price point on that humidor, Rafael? Not to interrupt you. I wanted to just curious.
I believe,
or roughly,
I believe it's about $18 a cigar. So I think this is about $2,000 a humidor, I believe. Yeah. But let me tell you, just the humidor is worth it. And then on top of that, you have amazing cigar. This is old tobacco aged over 15 years from the Plasencia family portfolio of tobacco.
Now, see how excited Rafael gets. So we have this program I want to touch base on because you texted me the other night and Thursday night, and you were actually being talked about while you texted me. I had this idea a couple of years ago. Actually, started during COVID to just inexperience during thing to change things up, and we started this thing called the Connoisseur Club, and we're coming on our last year. It was a 2-year run, but it was a cool concept to get people to try cigars that were made for the club, so they had no experience for it, but never knowing who made them, and just to go through the psychological experience. And there were so many comments, Rafael. I think you've done it now, 3 times over the course of the year?
3 times.
And every time, not only is your cigar a hit, but people are so surprised that a hit would come from a big company like Altadis. And I was telling people on the thing, you don't understand. Rafael's company is Boutique Blends. This is the mind of a boutique cigar maker. And that's why, in my opinion, you're one of the guys who get most excited about making projects for that. But all 3 of the blends that your company were involved in were big hits across the board amongst our members from Altadis USA. And that's a testament, because we have literally everybody in the industry who's gone through it. And you've done it now 3 times, and everyone has scored well and been received well by almost the majority of all the members. So kudos to you, Rafael.
Thank you. And Abe, I'm very competitive and I love to create, right? So I was Thursday, you told me, right? Because I did the video the day before. Hey, and I was sending you, hey, what are the notes? What are people saying? I love, because for me, this is one of the coolest project ever. Stop in the cigar industry, right? So being able to create something for a special group of people that they can rate it. We learn from that. As a matter of fact, what I did is 3 blends from similar tobacco with different proportions, different ages, and different style of fermentation, right? And based on that, I've been able to get ideas and things like that, because for me, creating a blend is like creating music, right? So you get 7 notes, right? And then, then so many music comes out of that. And that's what I love to do. And then for me, is Multi-Blend was a laboratory. Let's come up with this. And then to give me an opportunity of X amount of people try the blends and tell me against other blends. By the way, I remember the first time you have amazing manufacturers and every single one, because you got all the top rated manufacturers doing these things. But I doubt that anybody gets as excited as I am about this project. You can ask anybody in the office.
Nope. You listen to me. You're one of the because look, I've said it before. This club is not easy on us. It's not easy on the manufacturers for them to create something new and stop production for such a small amount of production. And a lot of them are doing it mostly because they're supporting us and our company. But there are a couple guys, and you probably are at the top of people who are really excited about this project, and it's shown. It's shown in the final product.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I just love it. We take the best one, and sometimes on the second one we just didn't have enough tobacco to do a lot of big production. But those are things that sometimes you make for yourself, and things that you say, "Damn, this is a good cigar." As a matter of fact, as I was doing a video, I posted in Facebook yesterday, I believe. I was doing a video the day before, and I just stopped and let me just enjoy this cigar, because I light it up for the video, and I was like, holy shit, this is a great blend. And it got it better to the months, and because I have these cigars made, shipped to us, I keep it on the humidor I check the temperature, I check the
they're your babies. They're your babies.
They're the babies, and they're but our company, as a big company, has allowed us to do what we think is great for the industry. And that, so our job, and I heard this in politics a long time ago, all politics are local, right? Are local. And, it doesn't, the bigger thing, but cigars are, at the end of the day, based on that particular cigar you're making and the people that are smoking. And so we are a big company, but we run the company, our president, Javier Estrada, run the company as a small company. So we have the resources of the big company and the thinking, which is a way of thinking, the culture, everything is very, very important to us.
That's a great mindset. And speaking of great blends, during the break, you showed one of your newer cigars, which was actually in our Cigar of the Month Club this month. Tell us a little bit about this new cigar that I've been smoking this whole show.
Oh, let me just tell you, I started smoking that, but it's here. This cigar. Well, this cigar, the first one was the A Shotman by AJ Fernandez, lighter blue. And this is a cigar, a blend that we have done with AJ Fernandez for Aging Room. But in 2007, the FDA was coming. 2015 was coming. We didn't have enough of our able to release so many blends. So I spoke to Altadis, and we released that blend under the A Shotman by AJ Fernandez. They let me pick the color. I love blue, and I picked lighter blue. I have done a lighter blue in the Swag South Beach before, which was not very successful, but we changed the color a little bit, and we released the exactly. And now with this is a stronger color. But as you know, because I have been on the show talking about the Trinidad Espiritu #2 series with tobacco from Brazil. So I have been experimenting and playing around with different blends, and discover working with the Brazilian tobacco. So for the previous one I did for the Trinidad Espiritu #2, I did a Arapiraca wrapper. For this one, we use this Matafina wrapper from Brazil. In the blend, we use tobacco from Nicaragua or from AJ Fernandez farm. But in addition, we blend it with an Habano seed grow in Brazil. So these are cigars that I'm trying to get a lot of complexity, a fuller body, a great experience. It's a cigar that doesn't overwhelm because it's very well aged and very well fermented. So the idea is to get all that you can get from a fuller body cigar, but without the hardness because of the aging and things like that. So these are not wheel of flavors that we had in our traditional portfolio. These are new wheel of flavors that we're trying, a little bit more complexity. And it's a cigar that burns extremely wide, love in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. Guys, if you haven't tried this cigar, I encourage you to try this. An A. Shortman by AJ Fernandez Heritage. The name Heritage comes from the heritage of the brand, heritage of AJ Fernandez family, love for cigar, love for his family. And we thought it was a great way to pair in this. I was afraid of making this because the AJ Fernandez HM have been so successful, right?
Didn't want to,
yeah, something like that. You're afraid
Yep.
to move it up, to change it up. Thank you, Alex. I'm glad you like the blend. It's a fantastic blend. So we took, by the way, guys, cigar. Put some pictures. I don't see any picture. Put some pictures.
So Rafael, I was going to mention this. We forgot about this when we said it. They can't actually post pictures until
they use the name, right?
Until after the show's over. They can do it after the show's over, so they can post their pictures after the show over.
Okay, so post pictures after the show.
Yes, post your pictures after the show of Altadis USA brand cigar, and Rafael picked 3 winners to get the new Aging Room t-shirts. Chris Barnett about trying these. If you're a member of our Cigar of the Month Club, it was in this month's selection. There's a code at the bottom that'll save you on the brand. If not, in honor of Rafael being on the show, we have put this blend here in our spotlight feature. So you could save 15%. Wow. You just go to smokein.com, and it's one of our spotlight feature cigars this month up right now. And either way, whether you're a Cigar of the Month Club or not, you could save if you want to try this blend. Thumbs up for me. Totally worth trying. Excellent cigar. I've enjoyed. I had to stop because I wanted to show the band on it, and I was getting to the bottom, so I had to stop, and it was struggling not to light it up again. So I got to the point where I could light it back up.
Discount on this cigar, guys. This is your opportunity. I'm biased, right? I'm biased, but I love a lot of cigars in the industry, whether we make it or not, right?
We're all biased.
Yeah, we're biased.
Somebody asked me if I thought our 25th anniversary cigar was good. I'm like, and don't be biased. I'm like, how can I not be biased? I said, I'm not going to put my company name, my reputation, then on top of my dad's name on a cigar that I don't think is great. So absolutely. I think it's great. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. So you have to judge for yourself. But excellent cigar. Enjoying it. This whole
I'm glad you say that because if you notice everything we have been doing with the type of products, the Monte Cristo 1935 anniversary that got to be number 2 cigar of the year.
Another one of our favorites. I said it when we had you on the show and we talked about it.
It's they had given me this opportunity. So for Aging Room and Boutique Blend Cigar, we were just working with this, like a musician or a painter with this little canvas, with these few paints. Now we can just have a huge canvas. We have huge amount of paint, different colors, and so we can make things that we were not doing before. And it's an opportunity for me to create new things. Some will work. You only get to, let me tell you guys, we only get to try the good ones, right? So for that Cigars of the Club, the ones that we made, we tried some awful cigars, before. That's why we do this so much time in advance, because it's just an opportunity to create new stuff, right? So you only get to see the good stuff, but we do a lot of bad stuff also. Yeah? We just don't get it to the market.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you make a masterpiece. Sometimes it takes a couple runs at it. So one of the questions I really wanted to ask you, which we talked about during our meeting, which Paul never put on our sheet unless I'm completely blind because I looked up and down on it. Look at Paul's eyes blow up. Even when we try to help him do his job, he can't do his job. PCA. I don't know if you could talk about it. I don't know if it's something that you can talk about or not. But PCA.
Right.
Do you foresee the possibility, or is it a completely closed door? Will Altadis USA ever contemplate or engage in the ability or the possibility of maybe returning to the trade show?
Well, first of all, I'm not the right person for that, but I have to say that as a company, well, thank you. I have to start. You see, Alex is like, yeah. I have to say this. So I'm not the right person to do that, but I can tell you that as a company, our company support PCA. As a trade show itself, we didn't think it was a good business opportunity for us to do that. We love the industry. And by the way, That doesn't, us not attending the show doesn't mean that is, we don't support the industry or we just don't support PCA. We just did not think that the trade show, as it was, it is good for our company.
Well, it probably not. It's probably not on a financial sense. May never be, but I gotta give you a perfect example. I mean, for a guy who's embraced social media in the last couple of years, you obviously understand the importance of connectivity. And like even that Romeo and Julieta humidor, the Bed of Roses, right? That's when you would go and see it because I know because I've seen many of these things over my career. That picture doesn't do it justice, right? I mean, that picture looks cool, but it's going to be so much more impressive when you see that live. And as a company, I think for especially companies like Altus that make these sometimes really extravagant things, it's an opportunity you're missing on to showcase it to retailers because I don't think I don't think when you send the sales rep in with a slick sheet on something like that, it really sends the message of the final product, and I just, somewhere in the back of my head, maybe I'm a traditionalist, maybe it's Sal Fontana talking through my head, but I'd like to see some of the guys come back and be part of the trade show.
Listen, it might be very well be right. So we're just not saying that we're not going to go ever again. We're just saying that at the current moment, the show as it stands has not make a financial sense for the companies from the business point of view, because that way we utilize that money to do some of the stuff with the retailer to help the industry in different ways and things like that. Yeah, I understand your point, and we did present this at the TPE in Vegas, a smaller show, a different concept. We just believe at the moment, right? And by the way, like I mentioned from the beginning, and now I'm talking from my personal thing.
I was asking your personal opinion about it too, as well.
I'm not the right person to say that from the company. I think the company, as a company, we make a decision that we're not going to attend for now. It just didn't make sense for us, and it doesn't mean that it might actually be at one moment or another. So that is a possibility. Absolutely, there is. That we are supporting the industry. We are in the different ways, and we're trying. That that this may have been perceived by other people as not supporting the industry. It's wrong. We do support the industry. We just didn't think that the current state of the show perhaps is what it is. But I have to tell you that we have a great relationship with the PCA. We are members. We are members. We support that. We support the industry. We support the effort against the FDA. All we make is premium cigar. We don't make anything else, and we love the industry. So, as a stand at the moment, we are not attending.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, I totally agree that there are issues with the trade show.
Oh, I listen to your show all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
and you went back to the show, which I have not seen you in the show for many years.
Yeah.
And, so by the way, that is an example of things that happen. So now we will see. And I know I listen to the show. We all love the industry. We love the people that are in the industry. And hopefully,
I would like them to figure out a way that they can come back and reach out to these companies and work it so that it does work for everybody involved. I think it's better for the industry as a whole, but the onus is on them. I mean,
fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
That's where that's at. So, as far as music, just curious because we didn't touch base on this. I see, you embraced social media. I could have been ignorant about it, but you kind of really blew up during COVID. Was that really? When you? I mean, were you active before, and I just started noticing during COVID, or is that really?
I was learning, right? Listen. For me, as I mentioned, came from Cuba, difficult time. My whole life has been about adjusting to the new situation.
Right.
So COVID for me was when everybody panicked. What we're going to do is say, listen, there's always a way, right? We are humans. We adjust. Your family, our family, everybody, we all adjust. So for me, it was a way to stay in contact. I was traveling so much, by the way, during that. I thought I was going to die. I was traveling because we had just been named #1 cigar of the year. We had our first week of events, first one in Cigar Aficionado at the Grand Havana Room, private dinner for all their members. And then we started in South Florida, in Miami, and every single day. And I had told my wife, forget about vacation, forget about anything. I'm going to be traveling the whole year. But God is a very funny God, and it's forget it. A week after that, Europe closes, thing closes, everything closes, and I'm here at home. What am I gonna do? So thing called social media, and I was learning about it. I was working a little bit doing these things, and then I discovered the cigar groups, and I discovered all these things, and I say, this is it, this is the opportunity. And it opened up like you did. I did a marathon, which I thought it was a marathon. Then I think Fuentes did like a 24-hour, but we did 7 hours. You were a show, you were a guest at the show. And, we have Cigar Life in Facebook, one of the largest, 159,000 members or people. We did this marathon 7 hours. We used to do this Saturdays and Sundays and coffee and breakfast and, whatever. And then all these things are from you as well with Jeff and the Cigar Authority, Will Coop and all these things. And we found it's adjusting, because at the end of the day, you cannot let anything bring you down. So we just have to evolve. And we evolve, and we find out that, I like to talk. We learned that we like to talk, and it was great. I haven't let you guys talk, so, trust me.
We've talked enough. Paul, did we announce the winners during the show last week?
We announced the winners during the show, and then Alex sent me, there was one winner for after the show that Alex sent me that I haven't reached out to. Alex, do you remember who that was off the top? Or it was Marcus, right?
It was Mawa, yeah.
Mawa is
Mawa.
the winner
All
for
right.
the book.
So,
yeah, but everybody else was announced on the show.
So do we get those packages out to them, Alex, or
no?
We're
gonna get. I'm getting the information.
They're coming straight from Daniel.
Oh, that's right, from Daniel.
Yeah,
I have to get the information to Daniel.
He didn't send the stuff to us.
They will do it. Yep.
Okay, good. So, Rafael, I watched a lot of what you did, and I saw you playing a lot of piano. So I just got to ask, do you even own a violin still?
Yes, I do. I
didn't see you playing it. Did you ever play it?
I do suck right now playing the violin, and it needs a lot of practice. That's an instrument that it is a lot of practice. My fingers have grown so.
Ow.
And as you know, because your daughter, when you're studying, you put these little marks, right, with the first, the second, the third finger goes, and separation from the first to the second, the half a step to the third, and your fingers, by touch where they go. But then you start growing and you start eating like me, and your fingers get so big. And I cannot put the finger where it is. So
I cannot push down one string for the life.
You need like special. You need like a viola or a cello.
Seriously, I could probably play maybe the big bass, 4 strings wide apart, but I cannot. I watch my daughter play, and how she can hit one string so readily, so fast, it is mind blowing. So we're going to presume that your favorite instrument to play is the piano.
It is at the moment. Yes, it is.
And what's your favorite song to play on the piano?
Oh my God!
Kimchi in Taiwan wants to know.
Well, let me tell you. For me, it's Memory from
Cats. Wow,
Cats is the first.
Look, Paul lit up, man. It struck home with Paul.
Yeah, Cats
Broadway.
The first.
Any Broadway song, yeah. Horrible show, but good music. And great songs.
Paul, you saying Cats is a horrible show?
Cats is a
the Cats show. And the thing, and I saw it, but that Memory.
Paul just trying to cover his cat fetish. That's all.
Yes, I love that. Then I do the poopery. I start with that and mix it with another of his son of the Broadway show. Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, which I also love. I love a lot of Broadway music and things like that. So those are two of my favorite all time. And then my own compositions, which, I sound good because no one else can play. Well, no one else knows them. So I love my own composition, which I do. And, I travel to places, I write, and I spend a lot of nights writing. But Memory is my all-time favorite.
We should get Paul to sing a couple lines of Memory.
No, I don't know. That's a song I absolutely do not know. But listen, any day that Rafael needs a singer for any of his Broadway show tunes, if it's in my range, I'd jump in.
Oh my God!
At a time when I don't have a sinus infection.
I'm gonna bring
I would love to.
the piano here. I have it in my house. I'm staying at the apartment now. During the COVID situation, I moved. I was afraid of the building, elevators and things. So I moved to my house in Miami Lakes, which used to be, well, actually Nick Perdomo used to be my neighbor there. Now Nick Jr. lives in that house, so we right across each other's house. And I have the piano there, and during the pandemic I got to play a lot. I'm bringing it to the apartment soon, and one of these days we can do the show and play.
Awesome.
Would
Well,
love it.
in traditional closing fashion, Rafael, we have a very special segment sponsored by Gurkha Cigars. We're going to ask you a couple questions, and we're going to see which you'd rather. One of my newest favorite intros. I hope Juan never asked me for a royalty for that.
I love those pictures, by the way.
All right, we got 3 questions for you, Rafael. I'm going to start with the first one. You have to tell me which you would rather. If you could only play one instrument for the rest of your life, and I think we answered this one here, would you rather play the piano or the violin?
That's by far the piano. You can do a lot more. You can improvise a lot more for me. And you can create, because the piano has both the harmony and the melody you can play together. Violin is mostly, you can do some harmony as well, but it's mostly the melody alone. So it's the piano by far.
Okay, so here's the question I'm really going to enjoy, because even if you've watched yourself from the first KMA episode you've ever been on until now, you've become very more fashion oriented. You're much more snazzy. I mean, you were always very well dressed, but you've gotten way more snazzier. And some of the pictures of the food that you eat when you're traveling in Spain, epic. So here's a great question for you on Would You Rather. Would you rather have clothes from anywhere you want, but you can only eat fast food the rest of your life? Or would you rather eat food from anywhere, but you can only wear clothes bought at Walmart?
Let me just tell you that no doubt the food, being able to buy the food from nowhere. The clothes, I always like fashion. When I came from Cuba, we went to buy clothes, and I got 2 jackets. This kid from Cuba in 1980, I got 2 jackets. I'd always wear jacket. I wear jacket to the office and tie every single day. The difference is I started buying it first at JCPenney. Then, wow, I moved to the men's warehouse. Like, oh my God, I made it in life, right? And now I get someone to make a tailor that goes to the office and used to make it for us. So
life is good.
Yeah. So, and then the food. Listen, I love food. I love fast food. I love burger. I love pizza. I love all those things. But then I discovered, the flavors and just like the aroma, just like making cigars. And there's so much possibility. So I love by far. Even if I had to go to Walmart, which, by the way, I go with my kids. They love Walmart for some reason. And my grandson also love it. Food for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Wow.
I'm with him on that one. And finally, would you rather go in the past and meet your ancestors, or would you rather go in the future and meet your great-grandchildren?
Wow, that is an interesting question, because I love the history. I love the people that made me come to where I am today. My parents, my grandparents. I believe on family and where we are. I believe in DNA. I believe in the things that you have carried from generation to generation. But I'm all about the future. I put my past like that, and I all about the future. So this I will have to go to the future and meet what I am part of, what I am creating. Although I would have loved to meet the people that create or got me here, I am all about the future. I love the opportunity to meet what I am trying to help create. Yeah, the future for sure. How about you guys?
That's a tough question.
It is a tough question.
I have to go future, because I probably, if I did enough and spent the time, I can find information on my past and my ancestors. There's no way to do that for what's in the future.
Right.
I guess that's true. There's no chance of ever knowing about the future.
right.
Right, and something that you help create, by the way, is you help
True.
create and you shape not only with the DNA.
Unless it
but
doesn't look so good when you get there,
well, it might not look too good. I mean, then you might be disappointed, but that's life. What about you, Abe? You didn't say, because I know you love the past and you love you.
I think I would go in the past.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, a couple of reasons. I'm a firm believer that you learn from history, and I still have life to move forward. So love insight from people in the past and what got me here. And if I went into the future, honestly, and I knew what happened in the future with my great grandchildren, I would live in constant fear of decisions I would make moving
Anything
forward.
you did would change.
Yes,
that.
yes.
Right.
If I saw something I didn't like, how do I change that? I think it would be too tormenting. At least going in the past, it's done. You can't change nothing. It's strictly informative. I think if I went in the future,
even if it was you saw what you did like, now you still have that burden here. Am I making the decision that may change that? Yeah.
And I'm the type of guy that would think like that. I would go nuts. Every decision would end up being torture. Any major life decision would be torture. Am I making the right one? Is this what, especially if it was something tragic, is this what led down that road? Maybe I should pick the other one. No, maybe I thought I'd pick the other one. And that, I'll go nuts. I would go batty.
Right.
No, I agree. It's hard, but
listen,
knowing what you are able to create, because listen, we work very hard. We love our family. We dedicate some time, although depending. I was listening to Alex that it takes a ride to Miami because of the kids. I have 4 kids. I've gone through that. It's not easy, but you help shape a generation, right? You help them with your thinking. You're using what you got from your parents, from your grandparents, and everything else. But of being able to see what that continues to be in the future for me is an amazing opportunity. These are great questions, guys. I feel like I'm in a TV show talking about psychology. Very good questions.
Well, we like to mix it up here on KMA Talk Radio. Rafael, listen, thank you very much for taking part out of your Saturday morning to join us here with our fans, as always, the KMA Nation, the KMA crew. We love you guys. We hope we entertained you. We enjoyed it. We spent a couple hours with us this morning and hopefully made you chuckle a little bit. Back next week, our contributor, William Cooper, will be here, and we'll be back with Tail of the Tape next week. Please follow us on social media, Instagram and Facebook. We have KMA, Smoking Cigars. And if you want to enjoy a different kind of cigar group, very close to the culture, a lot of fun, check us out, Smoking social media.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Abe. And I appreciate it. Guys, remember to post those pictures, and I'll be selecting three, and it will be receiving, again, large, extra large, and 2XL only. Guys, thank you very much. Try the A Shortman by AJ Fernandez, our Altadis releases, Monte Cristo, and all of the others. Thank you all.
There you go. Beautiful. Next week, we have Danny Dickowich and Ariel from Las Serena Cigars. And I think we got a couple ancillary guests coming on next week. So it should be a packed show next week. Until then, everybody have a great weekend and keep it lit.